Okay.
Recording in progress.
All right, so thank you, everybody. We're just going to quickly run through the logistics stuff, and then we'll pass it over to Anne and Gloria for today's agenda. This is a special meeting of the Portland Committee on Community Engaged Policing. And today it is 6:01 p.m. on July 12th. So today, this is a public meeting subject to City Administrative Code conducted under the provision of Oregon Public Meetings Law that PCCEP has opted into. And as a reminder, please feel free to use the Zoom chat function, but the chat transcript will be included in the meeting record for this meeting. Today, we have a few quick city updates and then going into discussion of the July 27th Settlement Agreement Status Conference, including a drafting session for the a member work session, to craft the PCCEP statement for the July 27th status conference presentation. And then there will be public comment at the end of the meeting agenda as well. And as a quick reminder, here are the upcoming meetings of PCCEP scheduled out for the next few months. There will also be subcommittee meetings that are not currently on this slide. Will be determined at a later point. And with that, stop screen sharing, pass it over to for introductions to Anne and to Gloria.
Thank you, Samir. And thank you for making that change. Gloria and I have put together just a brief outline about why we're here tonight, but we wanted to start with introductions. So we'd like to start with, since we're kind of short on time, how about if we start with introductions of PCCEP members, and everyone else, if you could put your name and title in the chat, that would be terrific. So I'll start. Ann Campbell, PCCEP member. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm so happy to see everyone here tonight. I'll pass it over to Gloria.
Gloria Canson. I use she, her pronouns. I'm also the chairperson for the youth committee. Glad to be here tonight. Glad to see you all.
Thanks, Gloria. Over to Byron.
Good evening, everybody. Byron Vaughn, PCCEP member, Behavioral Health Subcommittee, and I help out with Youth Subcommittee.
Okay, Tia?
My name is Tia Palafox, she, her pronouns. I'm on the Behavioral Health Subcommittee. And I was told that you can't be on the youth subcommittee unless you're 15 to 24. But I try to help when I can.
Gloria, do you want to respond to that?
No.
But she can be on the youth subcommittee, can't
she? Can. She
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Gloria and helping others. That's great. Okay. We just wanted to start tonight with the objectives. I don't think there's any other PCCEP members here this evening. Oh, Celeste, please, Celeste.
Yes, what can I do? Did you have introductions?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Celeste Carey. I am currently the chair of the Racial Equity Subcommittee. And I think this summer marks my first anniversary as a PCCEP member. So glad to still be aboard.
Yeah, and I'm here too. I don't know whether you saw me or not, but Amy Anderson, PCCEP member. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. As I initially said, due to a shortened meeting this evening,
Nathan,
yeah, you forgot.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry, Nathan. Please.
Nathan Castle, PCCEP member, he, him pronouns, live in Central East Side, and I am not on any subcommittees currently.
Thank you, Nathan. And once again, sorry, is there any other PCCEP members here? Okay, I don't hear any. So let's just kind of jump into the purpose of the meeting tonight. And then I'm going to, Gloria and I are doing this meeting together. The purpose of the meeting is to create a PCCEP statement that will be voted on at our full board meeting on the 20th. And the statement is a response or something that we could read from PCCEP, from the body of our group, the whole committee, at the status hearing on the 27th of this month. So it's a big task. Gloria and I have put together a few ideas of how we could accomplish putting this together. So we wanted to kind of limit this to PCCEP members, since it's a work meeting, talking about this, and then have community feedback as well. But just to start, Gloria, did you want to add anything to that?
No, go on. You let me know when you want me to give just a little background or history.
Why don't you do that now? Let me just preface it with, we talked about in our statement to the court about the settlement agreement. You brought up some really great points on some historical pieces relative to accountability. So do you want to start with that?
There was a statement made in the DOJ report that in 2020, they met compliance. And in 21, they were out of compliance. And I just wanted to say that we've been out of compliance ever since 1994, when we had the judge who was there before Simons was Judge Answer Haggerty. And the mayor at that time, the police chief was Reese. And the mayor in 2012 was Sam Adams. We haven't been in compliance since 1994. So, I don't want people to think just because of the riots, Portland Police Bureau was out of compliance. We've been out of compliance since 1994. And that was just a little background. As we go further, we'll talk about the same type of non-compliance that happened then that is happening now. Okay.
Okay, what we thought we could start with is, in the efforts of time, we thought of 4 areas that we could potentially write a statement about. One of them is use of force. The other one would be training, accountability, and PCCEP. And Gloria, do you have that document that I sent you today?
I can pull it up. Hold on.
Yeah. Could we allow her to share her screen? Because it might be a good starting point, but it's in no way is it our statement. It's just some thoughts that we can add to.
Okay, I'm gonna
go. I apologize, I don't have it. I did it on another computer and I didn't send it to myself. I apologize.
It's okay.
But I sent it to Gloria.
So let me get it. Just a minute.
Does Gloria have screen sharing permissions?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. So just hold on and I'll pull it back up. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, and meeting notes. Nope, that's not it.
That is it. That is it.
Meeting notes?
Yeah, it was an attachment.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
And see at the bottom of your screen, it says share screen.
Let's see.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience with this.
No, but it doesn't say share screen on this. This is my email account.
Go back to the Zoom. Go back
to Zoom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Celeste here, while she's looking, is that email account one that you have access to from this computer? Because you could go into your sent file if it is.
No, it isn't. I apologize. I'm going to.
Hey, no worries. No worries. I was just trying to fill in gaps here.
Let me send it to you, Celeste, from my.
Okay.
I'm
Oh, good.
apologizing. 1 second.
Very good. But I need to pull it up for myself anyway.
Yeah, we're going to want to share it. And I was just trying to figure out a way to help expedite this.
Thank you.
Oh, no worries. It's called teamwork.
Makes the dream work.
That's right.
Okay, there it is. And let me go down and see if I can.
And are you sending it to my PCCEP file and email rather?
Yes. Would that be
Okay.
good? It's celeste.carey, right?
Yes, celeste.carey, portlandoregon.gov.
C-A-R-E-Y?
C-A-R-E-Y, correct. Hmm.
1 moment. I think while we're getting that together, I'm getting on another computer to forward that, and I'll forward that to all PCCEP members. I see in the chat, Tia, did you want to talk about that?
Sure, I just was taking, I see Jared, I was just taking super good notes before we started on Jared's attachments. And I read that in 2021, the city did not meet the standard for terminating the settlement agreement because not in substantial compliance. And then it goes on, and then it says Q4 partial compliance in the paragraph, and then Q1 partial compliance. But last year, we achieved substantial compliance according to paragraph 57. But Gloria just said that they haven't been in compliance since 1994.
I have it.
So
I think one of the critical parts is what substantial compliance means.
That's
yeah,
right.
that
Celeste.
would be nice to know. But
And-
why this says substantial compliance, right?
And I'd just like to clear up any confusion. I understand what Gloria means when she says non-compliance since 1994. Of course, we're talking about a legal document that did not exist until 2014. And so when we use the phrase compliance or substantial compliance, we're talking in specific regard to the settlement agreement and its provisions. So, technically you could, the city could substantially comply with the settlement agreement and still not be, meeting the standards that Gloria might have for the police bureau, or Judge Haggerty, who's now, no longer on the bench, he might have. There's, I think in that regard, Gloria is using a little c substantial compliance, and we're using a big C, and that is defined by the settlement agreement. I believe it's paragraph 175 that talks about substantial compliance in a more legal sense. So it is tied to when we talk about evaluating the city's compliance, we're talking in specific regard to the settlement agreement, which did not exist until 2014.
But in 2021, Jared, were we 30 paragraphs and 6 sections that we did not meet compliance in?
So that is in relation to the city's performance in 2021.
Yeah.
The report, and we're through, I guess, March of 2022. In our evaluation, there are, 30 paragraphs that need additional work. And that is, represents some backsliding from 2020 and 2019 when we did find the city in substantial compliance with all of the terms of the settlement agreement.
Okay, I am checking my email, Amy, and it is not coming up. So,
Anne.
oh, I'm sorry, Anne. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong email here. Nope, I'm still getting the same thing. I don't have it updated. So,
Sarah, did you get it?
Yeah.
Sarah, do you
I
have it?
got it, and I'm busy typing in your name so I can send it off to you all.
Perfect.
thank you.
Sorry, Celeste, and sorry for that hiccup, everyone.
Oh, that's all right. No worries. No worries.
I appreciate your patience on this. As you can see, I was working on it from my other job at Clark College. But so let me wait a moment and make sure that everyone can get that document. That was really just for notes to move forward, but I think it would be helpful for everyone to see it. Maybe like a small starting place, but of course nothing is in stone.
There it is. Good.
I just shared the screen, so
Thank you.
if one of you would like to take over, I'd be more than happy to see that, but I just thought that was the fastest way to get going.
That's perfect. Thank you. Thanks for helping. So in putting this together, I came up with, as you can see, use of force as one of the areas that I would like to comment on as a PCCEP member. These are some of the issues that I brought up that came to light for me, just super brief. The sentence or the paragraph at the bottom is just kind of my thoughts about, excuse me, my thoughts as a PCCEP member. So that was just kind of my own, and I see I spelled a word wrong. So my own thoughts. Everyone should have it now, if Sarah sent it to us all. So if we go down the document, you can see that I talked about use of force, training, accountability, and the last one was the PCCEP. And this information was taken from the DOJ report, and in some part from the last COCL report. So I simply use this as a starting point. Jared, I'm noticing, do you have any thoughts on this?
Me?
Yeah.
I have not read the document. I mean, I'm seeing it on screen. I think this is could be a helpful way to start. I think it's more important what your colleagues think about these statements. I'm here to answer questions about the DOJ report, if you have them, and, provide any historical perspective that might be helpful in terms of how either PCCEP or COAB presented to the court. And I'm, happy to do that. I can take a look at this and comment. I don't know if that's, exactly what everyone wants, but I'm happy to do that. I just need to take a second to do it. I was typing in the definition of substantial compliance for Celeste in the chat, which is why maybe my face furrowed. I have a Shar-Pei face, and the spirit animal is the Shar-Pei.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mean that. Yeah. So PCCEP members, are there any thoughts on this?
Just a quick question. Has this been shared via email with everyone?
Yes.
If someone who has access to that can forward it to me quickly. I have a city email account, but I don't have access to it. Sorry, what was that?
You don't have access to your city email?
No, not yet.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, I'll re-forward it. I do have a 1-minute delay on my sending so that I can catch the stupid errors. You know how that goes, but I'll get that to you. And let me see if I have your.
I'll message it to you.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Great.
And if somebody else has it who would like to share screens, you might be able to then do some editing in live time. And I would be most comfortable if someone from PCCEP actually edited your own statement as opposed to me trying to share my screen. So if someone else is able to share screens and could edit it live as you go through it or capture other people's thoughts, that would make some sense.
Let me see.
Gia hasn't seen it either.
I'm reading it.
And we apologize for the tardiness in sending this out. This was developed today. I know that we talked in our last PCCEP meeting about coming together today to try to put together a statement, and then have it ready to be, if possible, have it ready to be voted on at our next PCCEP meeting on the 20th. So it was kind of a last minute put together for this. And I apologize that it didn't get sent to the PCCEP members. So I will do that as well right now.
And I'm wondering, as we're reading it, one of my concerns is just in the short exchange we had, there was a question about phrases, words, and I wonder if we might make sure we have a little glossary perhaps on the bottom of the page or somewhere where everyone can follow along and we are sharing the same definitions of phrases, terms, words, etc., so that we all mean the same thing. Because I'm seeing in the chat, there's still some curiosity about how we could be in compliance. And I understand there's legal terms as well as the vernacular definition for compliance. And so I'm just thinking it might be helpful for everyone if we define these phrases so we're all on the same page.
I agree, especially if
I think that's a great idea.
Are they terms that are already defined though, easily, like from this settlement agreement or the DOJ report?
Well, we could pull that out. I don't want to deviate. And I mean, you brought up a very good point. That's exactly why I want to make sure we're doing this so that we are using exactly the same language in the same fashion, because some of these terms are specifically legal terms. Some of them are very specific to law enforcement. And so I want to make sure that we don't deviate from the necessary jargon, you know, and that we do have a clear understanding of how there might be a slight shift in the phrase when used in different areas.
Well, would it help to look at Jared's piece? Because that's where I got my information from. I
think so, Gloria. I said, I think so. Yeah.
Maybe someone could pull that up. It is quite lengthy. I like that feedback, but what if we add that to our next piece?
As we work on it, yeah, that would be fine.
Okay, let's do that.
That might even be more expedient. That would help us not get stuck.
Yeah, I'm on my third computer trying to forward this to everyone. I apologize. I guess it's been a really long day. So I am going to, let's see. It looks like it was forwarded to everyone.
It was.
And I can, let's see, how can I share my screen? I'm on a different computer, so I don't think I can do that. I'm so embarrassed at my technology. Is there someone that could share their screen and then we could work on the document?
I could try. Does anybody else? Let's see. First, let me get to the. I might be promising too much because I know I have at least 20 different windows open on this computer. But let me see what I can do here.
You can do it, Celeste. I was able to figure it out, and I'm as inept as anybody. So.
Oh, it's a matter of me making sure I'm showing the right screen. Like I said, I've got about 20 open.
And it lets you pick which one to share. So.
Okay, so where is this? Oh, that's funny. Spotify Premium. I don't need that. Okay, where is it? Let's see if this is the one. No, that's not it. That's the agenda. I have two of those open. Okay, meeting agenda. Yeah, I'm beginning to feel the. Okay, I had it. Oh, okay, I know what happened. The moment somebody switched it over for me, it disappeared for me to share screen. So now.
It's on Ann's email. Dated 7/7/2022.
Okay, that was the one I was looking for. Let's see if it came up again. Okay, here's Sarah. Okay, my system. Okay, meeting notes. Don't call this a virus. All righty. Now, let's see what this is meeting notes. Protected view, enable editing. And let's see if I can share this window now. Get back over here, share the window, share screen, meeting notes. Okay. Now, let me make sure that enable sharing is active. Enable editing. If it'll do this for me, then I know I'm good to go. Okay, yep, all righty. So what do we want to start with? I am a slow typist, but that might make me accurate. So where exactly do we start?
Well, you mentioned something about the glossary and then
okay.
I was wondering if we could just kind of go through and add to this. I'm looking in the chat. Ideally, what is this, Nathan? Nathan, do you want to talk about what you're mentioning?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say if, and I couldn't see the full document, so I didn't realize this was just the meeting plan, but if we're preparing a statement that's going to be published anywhere, I agree that there should probably be terms defined just so it's easy for the public to consume it. Otherwise, I think on page 84 of the report, there was a mention of training materials that are available to PCCEP members. And ideally, if those materials are designed well and they're accessible, that should be something we could share with everyone. And ideally, terms would be defined as part of that. I haven't seen those materials yet, so I was actually wondering if the other PCCEP members have access to that, or if that's maybe an inconsistency in the report.
That's great feedback. These are just my notes about a possible, this is just an outline for a statement, but I agree with you. However, I'm not quite sure. It wasn't my idea that we'd go that specific, but we certainly can.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that goes into our statement before the court. That's just a comment in general since the conversation came up.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that would work. Nathan, does everybody else feel comfortable with that? And we don't have to go through the document and define everything. Just as a phrase, a word, etc., comes up, we make note of it, the word. Later, we can define it properly. I think that will take the least amount of time, but capture the most input. How does everybody feel about that?
That sounds great.
Okay.
I want to remind everyone, these are the 4 areas that I suggested. We can absolutely add, subtract, do whatever we want. It was Gloria and my idea that we have some sort of a starting place. So
Okay.
do we want to, if people have had time to look at it, is there anything you'd like to add in terms of, you know, the 4 areas? Is there any area you'd like to add to this document?
I'm sorry, Anne, I switched screens, but did you start with the force section, section 3 force?
Yes, we're looking at the meeting notes on the screen.
Okay, well, under force in Jared's report or DOJ's report, it says that the audit was deficient in 2 ways. 1, with the compliance officer on the scope and the content, and 2, omitting parts required by the agreement. Missed the opportunity.
So we'd add those to under the heading of use of force.
Yes.
As additional pieces that we'd put in our statement.
Right. And then the other part, he goes on down, he's kind of in line with your statements on your notes. It goes into the training section.
Okay.
He talks
Celeste, since you're helping us with the notes, did you hear that part? She wanted to add some things under use of force.
I'm trying to get there. Under
Number
use
1
of
and
force,
2.
which line is that, Gloria?
1 and 2. It's
Okay.
3 lines up from the bottom.
Say that again one more time.
3 lines up from the bottom. The audit was deficient. Oh, you want the page number?
No, hold on. What we want to do, Gloria, I think, is we want to add your thoughts to this document, right? Because this is like just a framework. So it's just another listing under use of force, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And what I said was the audit was deficient in 2 ways. Not consulting with the compliance officer on the scope and the content, and omitting parts of the required agreement. It's like a missed opportunity.
Okay, so not compliant with what?
Not complying with the agreement. What it did was it omitted parts of the agreement, and it did not consult with the compliance officer on the scope and the content of the agreement.
I'm getting confused as to where we're adding that. We're adding it
under force.
Okay. And so what audit are you talking about? Are you talking about?
I'm talking about Jared's report.
Okay,
and it
not
is,
an audit. Mhm.
No, section 3 under force on his report. And let me get the page number on this. 5 of 9.
Oh, the executive summary.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's a big hint.
Okay, so the possibility, so you want that added to our report?
Where it says force section 3 And
Okay.
then there's a number 1 and a number 2. You see it, Ann?
Is that in the large document or is that in the,
It's on page 5 of 9.
Gotta be the smaller document.
She's referring to the summary report. I'm sorry, this is Pastor Weisner. I didn't mean to.
Yes, I am. Hello, Pastor Weisner.
Lord bless you. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, so she has the summary document and section 3. And I'm thinking she's looking
1
through
and
that.
2. Mhm,
Yeah.
1 and 2.
I see that. The audit was deficient in 2 significant ways. So I see that. That is on that document. I can add that. I can add that to that section.
Under your 4th section and on your agenda. Yeah.
Okay, so you want to add the audit was deficient. We agree that the audit was deficient in 2 significant ways. Not consulting with the compliance officer on scope and contact, and 2, omitting parts required by the agreement.
Yes.
Period. Okay. PCEP members, you were sent this information by Sarah. I don't remember the date of that, but so we can add that to this piece. Once again.
Actually, Ann, you sent it to us.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Well,
7/7. On 7/7.
Right, I resent it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Other comments?
Yeah, I had something. There was I don't know if you can put this under force, but I know in the PPB they had a lot of cultural trainings that they had, and they were all canceled. They were never rescheduled.
That's under the training section, Byron.
Oh no, I got that out of the PPB, but I don't know if I should put that in there or not. We can put that under training. Yeah, put that up for training.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm not going off of that, but it's something that they didn't get back to. Even though they talk about they had the trainings and it failed to comply with the agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
So tell me, and I'll type it on a document that I have here too, just so we can combine them both, because I appreciate Celeste you doing this, and I'll share it out with everyone as well. So what is it? What kind of training? Could you say that again, please?
Cultural. Did you say, Byron, cultural?
Yeah.
Was it called something else or just?
No.
Okay.
PPB's training, cultural training for officers, maybe?
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't put that in there. I would check it and make sure that it's correct, because that's just me, I'm thinking that's what Byron is talking
They
about.
have the rapid response team that trainings failed to comply with the agreement. And that's what I want to focus on, that they're not completing their training. It's the RRT.
Well, I think we should add it in and we can do fact checking and make sure we're accurate.
Yeah.
How about
It's in
that?
section, it's right under the section Gloria was talking about. Under section 4, under training.
Yes.
The last 2 lines.
Yeah, it says it fails to comply with the agreement and negatively impacts compliance with other provisions about assessing training needs.
And on top of that, when I read in the PPB report that they had those trainings and they canceled all of them and they never rescheduled them.
Wow. Canceled trainings.
We're looking for that in section 4 training. Where was that line put?
It's right above where it says page 5.
Yeah, it's on that
Under
executive
training,
summary piece.
training section 4.
Could somebody give me the page reference like I did for Gloria so we can know where to look?
It's the same page.
Oh, same page. Okay, good. Same section
Yeah.
too?
Yes, the next one down.
Section 4.
Okay. I am going to do a little copy and paste and fix that.
Oh, goody.
Perfect. As you can see by this document, the document that several members are referencing, that was the executive summary of the DOJ filing on 6/30/22. And I didn't note every single piece, but we can certainly, bring in anything else you'd like on that.
I have notes on all the sections. So as we go along, other people can add, I can add. Pastor Wisner's here, Byron, all of us can add our 2 cents.
Yes. Okay. So is there anything else PCEP members would like to add at this time? And Jared posted the audit, the report we're talking about. Tia, I don't know who Robin is. You're muted.
Is this the end of the glossary part?
No.
No, if you see a word that you believe needs to be defined, just, bring our attention to it now. Even though I'm inserting everything under glossary, we will rearrange parts and put them where it needs to be. So I am currently putting everything in this section that says insert glossary, etc. And then we're going to sort it out. And that's why I'm trying to make sure I attribute it as noted by initials GC and BB. And then I need to know specifically what the section and page is so we can do it. So I'm working with my shortcomings to make this work out right. But right now, I'm just putting it right there at the top.
You're doing a great job, Celeste.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a real group effort. I just wanted to note that one of our new members is here. Anthony Russell has joined our meeting. He was appointed to PCEP at the same time as Nathan Castle. He's having some sound issues, but we just want to acknowledge and welcome him here to PCEP. And Anthony, we're just having a work session talking about our possible statement on behalf of PCEP, a statement that we would make on at the status hearing on July 27th. We're preparing this. We're going to bring a complete draft to our next meeting, our next full board meeting on the 20th. So just to catch you up to speed, and thank you for being here with us tonight. And thank you to Celeste and everyone for helping.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay, do we want to continue with additional comments and additions to this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Tia, do you have anything you'd like to share?
It looks good so far. I can't see the screen when I'm looking at the statement.
Let me see if I can. I'm trying to arrange this so you can see things. Hold on, I'm going to shrink this by changing the margins here real quick, and that should help you be able to see everything we need. Okay, where are my margins? It's define me. Okay, let's do it this way then. Just close some of these so that there's a little less. Okay, can you Can you see everything pretty much now, Tia?
No, because my picture is on top of the print.
Oh,
That's
okay.
okay. What I'm saying is that I took notes.
How about now?
No, I just need to minimize the pictures of us, but my brain doesn't function when I can't see you. So when I minimize
Got you. Okay.
reading, I can't feel like I can communicate right. But I have notes and I can't go back to the executive summary back and forth. I'm really bad at this technical part. Like when you see you have different screens open, I can't do that. So on the notes that I have, I feel like the statement so far is looking really good. But I was really enthralled with Nathan Castle's questions and notes, and was also seeing if there was anything to implement from that after reading. But I feel like that's just going to take a while as we get our new staff in and start to get organized with them. Unarmed.
Thank you, Tia, and thank you to everyone for tonight and working together. Nathan, is there anything you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about things, and I'm not sure if I want to add it to the list necessarily. I was just rereading the exact settlement agreement language, and I strictly speaking, I think the compliance finding is accurate. Whether or not it's, good enough is a different question. And I think there are some areas where PCCEP can be more active, and I look forward to seeing that happen. So I'm just looking at some chats coming through. Yeah, so really nothing that I think needs to be documented here. I think the one area that I'm, still concerned about and interested in, and I'll defer to other PCCEP members on whether it should be included, but I need to find what page it was on. I want to say it was, I'm losing my place. But basically with regards to the ROT training slide, there was the core issue, which was the material was offensive, but there was the separate issue of the training materials not being reviewed by the training division for specialty unit content.
Yes.
And I know there was sort of the promise to make sure that changes. I would be really curious to see, exactly what process is in place to make sure that that isn't repeated, because, the existing policy said all of that training content should have been reviewed. And then, just saying, we're really going to follow the policy this time isn't, it's not necessarily reassuring, and I don't feel confident that it isn't going to be, repeated. Does that make sense? Am I being clear? I can find.
It makes absolute sense, Nathan. That was one of my concerns in the initial draft that we had prepared that came out of the Racial Equity Subcommittee. And I'm really curious as to what specific actions will be taken by all responsible parties to ensure this doesn't happen, and to document that this is a historical problem, and to make sure that there's no not just slippage. That's a great term, Gloria, but we have I'm trying to be delicate, because the whole thing is we have not learned from our mistakes, and historically we keep making the same mistakes. And there was a statement made about how we seem to have done better this go round, and I had the unpleasant task of pointing out, no, we have not done better. We continue to fail. So your concern is important. And I think we need something in here that that cements the oversight responsibility and consequences in here. And then we need timely response. So I'm not quite sure just now how to phrase that so that it doesn't seem as though I'm being defamatory, punitive, et cetera, but that I'm looking for positive solutions to this. But I'm right behind you on this, Nathan, and trying to figure out how do we address this so that it's memorialized that this is a sacred responsibility. There's only other way I can think of to put it.
You know, Celeste, the reason why I keep interrupting is because I can't see my face on the screen. So I'm on page 9 of 9. If you look down there, it says, we saw the city backslide on compliance, but we are hopeful that the city will correct its course. Everybody see where I am? I'm on page 9 of 9.
Yes.
Okay, we'll correct its course, yet we remain mindful of the court's direction to consider whether now a court-appointed monitor might be appropriate.
Okay.
There
Yes.
you go. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
To protect the progress that we've already made, and these are Jared's words, I think, prevent further slippage.
Yeah, I like that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
We could, cut and paste that piece.
Yep.
And add to it if members want to, as all of this we can add to.
Yes.
I want to make sure that it is what we all want to have in that.
Can I just ask, and maybe this is a good question for Jared or Jonas, what is special about a court-appointed monitor, and how does that differ from what the DOJ is already doing and the COCO is already doing?
I don't know that I might characterize it as special. It is different. Right now, the United States, the Department of Justice is the monitor of the city's compliance or non-compliance. That's a unique setup in Portland. It can create some difficulties, and I don't want to speak for the city, but I do believe it can create some difficulties for them too, because we're both plaintiff who has to enforce the agreement, but we're also the monitor who assesses whether or not there's compliance. And that is a little bit tricky. We have two different hats. And we're not independent in a sense because we are the plaintiff and we're a governmental entity. Independent court monitor would be an agent of the court. And so they, and just like the compliance officer, they're technically independent, but they're a contractor of the city. So, they're not fully independent in a sense. So a court monitor is an independent court monitor would judge whether or not the city is in substantial compliance. And, why it's special? Well, one reason I might say is that the court has indicated interest in having an independent court monitor. I know during, the years 2016 to 2020, there was some questions about our independence as the DOJ. And the court, was concerned. And so were the amici, the Albina Ministerial Alliance and the Mental Health Alliance have both, I think, supported a court monitor. I think it's somewhat easier for us if there's a court monitor as plaintiff to really focus on whether or not the agreement needs to be enforced instead of also assessing compliance. And it does create some confusion and difficulty when both the United States, the DOJ has its report, but then the compliance officer, community liaison, the COCO, also files a report. And I think that's interesting in a way. And Dennis, I do see your comment, and yes, the city is always going to be obligated to pay the fees of a court monitor, just the same as they're obligated to pay the fees of the COCO, but there's no contract. And so there's no negotiation of a contract. That's a court order that they would have to be obliged to pay the fees of the independent court monitor. So those are just some of the differences. And I'm happy, Jonas, if you have other insights on that, I'd be glad to hear them. I will say that this is the only current agreement in police reform where the Department of Justice is both the plaintiff and the ultimate, monitor of compliance. And Sarah, if you want to add anything from your understanding too, I know you've looked at the issue.
Very quickly, because I don't want to take up time from PCCEP, it is your meeting, and thank you for having us. The more typical scenario is that you have a court monitor, the lead officer appointed by the court, answerable to the court, who speaks ex parte with the court or anybody else, and they assemble a team of experts. So you'd have a training expert, an accountability expert, a force expert, and they would set up audits and teach the city how to audit on their own ultimately, so that when we and the monitor walk away, the typical scenario is that the city learns how to do its own audits, does them with credibility, and publishes reports semi-annually or annually that the public trust and know what's going on. Thank you.
Does that kind of give some clarity, Nathan?
Yes, thank you.
So what I'm thinking is, I really like how this is going, how we're kind of adding pieces to this document. Is there any other areas?
Accountability.
Okay.
And we haven't even gotten to PCCEP's part in this.
Right.
But if we could do accountability, I think it will probably fall into place. The part where they mentioned that there are tens of thousands of documents, some which are needed for investigations, the city did not meet timelines for completing IPR investigation and resolving citizen review committee appeals. So it goes on to say, in addition, the city did not consistently ensure compliance with Directive 1010.10 as it relates to communication restriction orders and obtaining officers' interviews on deadly force events. So, I'm just a little puzzled. We keep giving, raises to the police department, but why are we giving them raises when we haven't even seen if they have benefited from any of the suggestions made, or if they benefited from correcting their own policies? Why are we continuing to give them money?
Well, that's an excellent point.
We can definitely use that in this statement.
Can I ask a question for clarity here? When you say give them money, do you mean in terms of the city funding the police initiatives and activities, or are you talking about?
I'm talking about
salary and reimbursement raises.
Raises.
Okay, here's a problem that we would run into with this. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying here's a step I see that we need to be aware of. There are a layer of contracts that we would have to address with regard to that. And that would be, for example, they have a union and they have negotiated to have salary. So there would be a totally different legal process we would have to engage in if we were trying to address salaries.
Not to make a recommendation.
Well, no. I mean, but you don't want to just make a recommendation to make one. You want to make one that you think is actually going to succeed and pass. And I'm thinking that our leverage is stronger when we talk about police department funding as opposed to salaries And does, am I making sense?
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
I want to say, point well taken, Gloria. You know, it's a huge issue, accountability. In terms of getting back to this statement that we're going to put forth, I agree with Celeste. I mean, it's a contractual issue, union issue, but it's an excellent point. And, you know, it's something I think, how would we word that and put that in this statement, Gloria?
You know, I'm not too sure. And I think that Celeste might be right about the departmental thing, because I read in one of the reports where that our, not, if I'm not mistaken, it's the new team that they got, that they did street response. They just got
Portland Street Response.
This group got $2.3 million. It was in the newspaper not too long ago, because they were making such good progress. So, and they're part of the Portland Police Bureau. I know that.
No, they're the fire.
No, they're part of public safety, but not the police bureau. And actually, they're under fire currently.
Right. I think what you're talking about is, if I'm, let me just.
It's PSR team.
Yeah. Portland Street Response. Yeah. I want to.
$2.98 million they just got.
And that's to expand that program. I think getting back to this issue, and I want to make sure, you know, this discussion is excellent, and I want to make sure that we kind of get a lot of things out on the table, and then we allow for community input too.
Good.
We wanted to give time for that. I'm just doing a time check at 7, and we've agreed that we're only going to discuss this till 7:30. So I think, Gloria, on that accountability issue, you know, you could think, and others can think on all these things. I mean, this is just an overview. We can add, we can subtract everything. We want to think about, you know, things we want to add to this document and how we would phrase it. And I think that what I can do on this, and Celeste, thank you for capturing this feedback. If you share it with me, I will, to the best of my abilities, go back and kind of rework this and have it ready for our next meeting. And I'll send it out in the next day or two to all PCCEP members so they have time to reflect on it.
And before you do that, I think it's important that we add the part about, in this compliance period, the city did not adequately implement police review board procedure, identify and investigate collateral misconduct, or enable the independent review to conduct meaningful investigations.
Where are you getting that part?
I'm getting it at the same part. It was.
Accountability. So you want to add those sections?
Yes.
So okay. So you want us to paste.
You can take out the money part.
Yeah.
All of that. But that accountability part ties into their money anyway.
So you want us to add on page 7 of 9, the entire accountability section. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it goes on down and it says the city also did not meet timelines for completing IPR investigations and resolving citizen review committee appeals. So, yeah.
Okay, well, we can put that on there. We were going to do a statement. We can definitely put it in there. We were doing a PCCEP statement.
Yes.
We can cut and paste. What
Good.
do other PCEP members think? Celeste?
That works to me. My only problem is I keep looking for the document you're referencing and I cannot find it in my computer. Otherwise, I'd be cutting and pasting. So I've been fishing around here because I know I have it. And I have a bunch printed.
Yeah,
So-
that's okay. I have it and I've made.
Okay,
notes.
perfect. Well,
Yeah.
I've captured what I have on here. But that sounds good. Now, let me get some clarity here because we have so many things we're making a statement on, and suddenly I'm confused. Is this a revisit of the statement that came out of the Racial Equity Subcommittee and a distillation of what's in there? Or is this a totally different document? Because I'm sensing some overlap and I'm starting to get a little confused.
Well, you know,
This is my notes.
Oh, okay. And this is in reference to us making a statement about
Yes.
what?
At the settlement status hearing on July 27th.
Okay, so we're referring to all of our notes and feedback that we want to go into that as a response. Okay.
Yes, and we're going to put together a statement and vote on it at our next PCEP meeting on the 20th. And then it would be something that a member would go to the court
And read, yeah.
read on behalf of the group.
Okay.
I see Sarah has her hand up.
Yeah, thanks. I'm trying to let you, run your process and all that, but I did want to say on the topic of that, I think, obviously the city's going to make a presentation. The DOJ is going to, they're going to lead off. They're going to make a presentation. The COCL is going to make a presentation about how they think this is all going. And you have an opportunity to provide a unique perspective based on, you've talked about PSR, the Portland Street response. You've had presentations by PSR to your group. You've had presentations about the meme that the RRT folks put in that. There's a lot of opportunities for you to offer insights from your work over the last year and your unique perspectives as community members to provide that to the court and to be kind of a different voice from anything the city's going to say, anything the DOJ is going to say, anything the is going to say, anything the Mental Health Alliance and the Albino Ministerial Alliance is going to say as well. So I think, or their coalition, I'm sorry. And so this is an opportunity. And I think, where you kind of get, I've heard the conversation pick up and get a little more energized a few times tonight. And I think you've got to capture that, and that's what the judge needs to hear from you in your kind of, your point of view. And I think that's what the judge will be very interested in. And I see Gloria did a great presentation, well received last time. So I think just go for it and I'll shut up now.
That's exactly what we're trying to do here is put together something. But thank you for that reminder. Amy, did you have a question?
Not a question. I was actually going to say almost exactly what Sarah said in the public comment period. So thank you for pointing that out. I think the other thing to keep in mind, the judge has absolutely read very thoroughly, in my experience, the DOJ's report and the COCL's report as well. And historically has often asked the PCEP presenter quite a lot of questions about PCEP, how it's been functioning. So I just want to make sure that, as we're running out of time, the PCEP section doesn't get short shrift, because I'm quite certain the judge will want to hear your perspective on that part in particular.
Good. That's good.
Well, thank you. Okay. I think in the efforts of time, I see there's other people that want to weigh in. Can we so we've talked about accountability. Byron, I see your hand, just 1 second. We're going to, I'm going to put together these notes and any additional ones we come up with in the next half hour. And I'm going to send it out to everyone to kind of think about, and we can discuss it yet again at our next meeting. I think we need to leave ample time.
And even though we haven't discussed PCEP, I don't know, but I heard that we have a new director. and we have a new clerical person. Thank you for that. If we have that,
Yeah, they
I
wanted,
think we should mention it.
yeah, they wanted to have a few minutes at the end. Did you mean mention it in the report or?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. I think we can, yeah. Okay, Byron, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, in the training, I'm not too sure. It's more of a statement. How they're training these guys and who they're bringing in is not helping the situation. I don't know. Just hearing what I'm saying, you can put something under training on your statement. The training is really bad. We have people that are not culturally educated. They're not culturally sympathetic. Gosh, there's like 5 or 6 other things that they're not to be able to go back to implement in the communities. So I mean something along those lines, and that's about it.
So something about trainers, I'm just kind of trying to, Celeste, did you have any thoughts on that? You're kind of keeping these notes too.
Well, as I've got in here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, the third bullet here. I've got here, Byron, that it's canceled PPB trainings for RRT, Rapid Response Team. And then I put, for example, cultural competency were not rescheduled. And then I put your section and the page of the summary. So we do have that in there. But if you've got in mind some specific trainings that you really want us to spotlight, highlight, whatever, be sure to either hit me now or add that, send it to Ann so we can get it in here. But it is mentioned. I just don't know to what extent you want to add.
But Celeste, is he asking about the training as well as the recruitment of new officers?
Well, that would be what I would ask Byron then. I mean,
yeah, that would be both.
Is that what you're asking?
That's what I
that
heard.
would be both. And with the training, you got to really emphasize it because it's not working. Whatever they're training these police is not working.
Well,
Whatever
it's not that the police are not being trained, and it's not that the training is not working. I want to emphasize something that I've been saying all along. You can give them training. They can train. They can, as a matter of fact, there is research that shows that it could be all of this increased cultural competency training is causing a lot of these microaggressions, assaults, and insults. The attitude is the problem. It is not the training. And so the question then is, in recruitment, if we're bringing in good candidates, what happens once they are on board that either causes them to change their attitudes or supports their already negative attitudes and makes them feel comfortable in expressing those negative attitudes? They get plenty of training. I've seen some of the training. It's not the training, it is their attitudes toward other people and how they manifest those attitudes in their job. Because
I'm glad you went that direction. I'm glad you went that direction, Celeste, because I wasn't too sure if we were going to go the other direction. So I started with that.
I'm glad you brought that up. But that's what we really need to look at. And that's one of the things that we mentioned in the letter from the Racial Equity Subcommittee, is that there is a need for cultural ambassadors to make a cultural shift. And then the leadership and management really need to hold the managers accountable in assuring that people are displaying the proper attitude, and there need to be real consequences. And so that's really the issue, is like, okay, we know you're getting trained. Why are you not taking it seriously? Why are you not manifesting the appropriate behaviors, responses, respect, compassion, etc.? So I think putting that in there is very important, both for the recruits as well as for those who are on board and becoming veterans.
Do you have something that you could just on that? It was said perfectly. Is there?
I'll look in the statement that the Racial Equity Subcommittee did.
Perfect.
I mean, that weighs on my mind all the time, so I can articulate that over and over again.
Let's absolutely put that in.
Okay.
Hey, what document is that, Celeste?
I cannot remember the name for it, but I'm going to put it on my to-do list right now, or find and resend out to membership.
It was the letter that you put together, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a statement going out from RES to, it went out to the mayor, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Oh, is it on the PCCEP site?
It may be. That was during our transition phase. So it might be something I have to meet with the new people and help create access for.
But for now, what we could do is capture that and put it on this document.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nathan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in on the training discussion, since I'm also on the Training Advisory Council, and I think I just want to, push back on some of the thoughts on the training. Obviously, there are, problems, and for example, with the training content that wasn't reviewed through the appropriate process, that's problematic. But in general, the PPB training, as far as I can tell, is among the best in the state and very good. There's a lot of care and thought that goes into the training. Community members do review training. I don't think appropriate to say it's just bad across the board. In terms of attitude and the way you approach interactions, the way officers approach interactions, I think, they train on the concept of procedural justice, which is, giving, community members voice, expressing neutrality, being trustworthy, and being respectful. And so ultimately we are training on that. I'll hurry up so we have time for public comment, but what I'd suggest, a few things is, if PCCEP has, serious concerns coming from the community about the training and the quality of the training, it would be good to engage with TAC and probably engage with the Police Equity Advisory Council, since they focus on equity issues, and I've heard that mentioned a few times. I would like to, I'm TAC chair, and I'd really like to discuss some of the concerns about the training, because I think this is really, really important that we get this right. But yeah, just going back, I think the blanket statement that the training is really bad isn't something I'm comfortable with. Whether or not, there are aspects that can be improved, I think there definitely are. But yeah, I'll probably be reaching out just individually to see what some of those concerns are, and think about how other community groups can also support the efforts to improve training and make sure, we're both training the right things, have an approach to measuring and ensuring the training works, and, seeing those outcomes in the work.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Nathan. What I heard said it was talking about more of an attitude piece. And I know that Celeste is going to grab that information and put that in the document that we're going to share out with everyone. But thank you. That's really helpful. Okay. Right now, and apologies to everyone, we will have community, we do want community feedback. Anyone here in our meeting with us, if you'd like to share your thoughts on our discussion or things you would like us to add to this. And then we are going to have, we have a few minutes, and then we're going to, I think we're going to have to go to 7:35. And at 7:30, we're going to have the city give us some updates on PCEP and our staff. So there's some staffing updates they want to share. So I think.
I would just like to suggest that you guys figure out between now and then who is going to own this document, who's going to be the wordsmith to try to get something a little more ready. And then were you going to discuss who is available to present to the hearing, or has that already been determined? Those were just two kind of loose ends. I just,
yeah, thanks, Sarah.
You can bring this to a landing next time.
Yeah, thanks. What we've decided that we're going to do is that Celeste and I are going to work on the document. She's going to share with me her information. I'm going to put it in this document. We're going to compile it. We're going to bring it to our next PCEP meeting on the 20th, where we're going to share it with the full PCEP and have a vote. And at that time, we decide who is going to be there. That's kind of a non-issue at this time to me. Someone will be there. I'll be there. Others, I'm sure, will be there. So community.
Diane,
Yes.
just out of the ball, if we don't agree on the statement, or if we think need something else added on, we don't have to do it or not. Be like Wednesday or Thursday, or do you think when we meet up on the 20th, we are locked in and loaded?
No, I mean, we can always revise. My thought is that if Celeste sends me her notes and I put it together and I send it out to people, my commitment is in the next, let's see, today is Tuesday. I'll have it to everyone's inbox by Thursday. And we can just back and forth send any updates, but it's a working agreement. It's an agreement of our group. It's not one person. So it would be hopeful that we could vote on it at our next meeting. That would be the hope. That is our intent. But I'm going to suggest at our next meeting, I'll speak with the city staff, and I think that the bulk of the meeting should be to just kind of fine tune it and get it ready to go, because it's really important that we have this just right for everyone. So with that in mind, is there any other, let's see, looking for hands. I see two Barbs. I see a Barbara and a Barb. Oh, I see Barbara, do you want to go? And then Barb. You're muted.
Sorry. I would just like to agree with the people who are saying that the attitude and culture are the main concern, because there are so many regulations, so many procedures and directives and whatnot. And it seems like it doesn't, I don't know, they just sort of chase around in circles. Whereas if somebody actually has true good intentions and a good understanding of who they are and their relationship to other people, that's what's needed. And I hope there's some way to pursue that. Thank you.
Thank you. Barb.
Hey everyone, I guess I don't have a picture, which is fine with me. I've been taking notes and I have a lot of things to say, and they're not really in a particular order. And if you don't write any of them down, and I don't see any of them on the 20th when you guys vote, because if you vote on the 20th, I don't think you're saying you're going to change it after that. But there's so many things on my list. I think I went to the status hearing over a year ago, and it doesn't have to be, from my understanding, you guys don't have to pick just one person to stand anywhere and face the judge. It can be 2 or 3 of you. So if the judge has questions, there's, you know, if you guys want to do it that way, I'm just saying it doesn't have to be a lone person, I don't think. And the judge is pretty sweet when it comes to PCEP. And so I'm confused about when the next meeting is and if it's a 2-hour meeting or what, because my understanding is the COCL report is going to be coming out. And I'm not sure how you guys are going to squeeze that in the town hall. I feel like I'm Dan Handelman now. I've been wondering if the TAC is presenting, and I really think that, well, one, if anybody from the Behavioral Health Subcommittee wants to get together to add something about Portland Street response, or if anybody does, I'm happy to help facilitate that in a smaller group and bring that to the meeting on the 20th, or just to answer questions, because it's something I've really been following. Darn, it's just a long list and I just can't look at it and prioritize it. I'm really hoping that not as a shaming of the city, and certainly maybe as a way to, you know, say you're positive going forward, right? Would be to call out the good parts of sort of the new staff and that kind of thing. But also I think the judge is going to be very curious about what he reads the paper. I mean, and he reads the website. So how the staffing issue has affected the PCEP, like during the transition, like Celeste is talking about, her subcommittee got, you know, something together, for example, but there's other work that was really kind of ground to a halt. Maybe something about how much training you guys have had or haven't had as official training or not official training, where we got the people in even though we didn't have trainings organized, if you know what I mean, like having Jared discuss stuff or what have you. So many thoughts. So like I said, not in a way of shaming the city, but talking about how it's had an effect on the PCEP and maybe what you guys want, and maybe putting that on the table for going forward thing in front of the judge. I just thought of that. So, you know, take my thoughts with a grain of salt, and the more I can see that what you guys are doing to comment in public comment on the 27th, the more comfortable I'll feel. This is another thing that has a quick turnaround time. And we've talked about a process before of taking in public comment at a meeting and then changing things and then voting again. And obviously there isn't time for that here. And so everybody who's a member of the PCEP, everybody who lives in Portland, and even some people that live in Chicago are, you know, invited to come to the hearing, right? And so people can go up there and talk for themselves, and they can say what they've experienced as a PCEP member or watching PCEP without saying PCEP thinks this or that or the next thing. Are you cutting me off, Anne?
Oh, I'm just, no, not cutting you off. Agreeing with you.
Okay. I saw your little square light up, and hold on, I got to drink something.
Yeah, and I just, you know, on the efforts of time, if you could wrap up in just 1 minute, that'd be perfect. You can also email me your thoughts. Myself or Celeste, we're putting the document together as anyone can. Our emails are on PCEP. We can also put our emails, if PCEP members could put their emails in the chat, that would be great. So Barb, do you want to finish?
Sure. And I'd like to invite you not to interrupt me like that when I'm on a roll. You can interrupt me when I'm on a break trying to think of something, but I'm going to leave you guys. Yeah, see, I'm going to leave you guys with thoughts of how you want to see yourselves as a group going forward and how you want to take care of the city, which you are in a humble way stewards of. And finally, I'd like to say that I'm excited that there's new staff. Tia putting something in the chat about having a friend that's applied to PCCEP and their application has disappeared. That has been an ongoing problem since the beginning of PCCEP. I have stories, not with my application, from other people's applications. So I hope that that isn't lost, or people can encourage friends and then also copy them, have them copy their applications or something to make sure there's a way to get through. And finally, there's something up on the PCCEP website that says if you have public comment, if you give it in writing before 8 a.m. on the day of the meeting, you all will get it. Did anybody get any public comment from me? My test run? All righty then.
Be really honest as a member. If I get something at 8 o'clock on the day of, I'm not going to have time to process it. I may not have time to read it. So that I'm just saying that for me. So I'm just saying I would hope it would not be at the last minute that way.
Celeste, if you look on the website, that's what it says. It doesn't, I'm not saying getting it, and I didn't even write it this morning at 8 o'clock. I wrote it over a week ago, okay, as a test thing about the form, where it came from and who decided what. So I would think that as a PCCEP member, not before the judge, I'm not talking about before the judge now at all. I'm talking about with your staff, right? Y'all can figure out what works for you in terms of getting public information before a PCCEP meeting.
And thank you, Barb. We really need to move on. And it's 7:33. We wanted to give the city, Samir, who's here to share with us some updates. I wish we had more time, but please email. The members have put their emails in the chat. Samir, would you like to go and share with us?
Thank you. Sarah, did you still have your hand up? I don't know if you wanted to say anything before.
Oh, I just wanted to say, you mentioned the COCO report. We have been in discussions. We know that next week we want to leave a good time for you to wrap up this conversation. And there had been, at the last full PCCEP meeting, there was a conversation about also talking about electing leadership, at least for the interim period until all the new members are on. And so there's time for that. And we talked to the COCO and they are amenable to having a briefer presentation. It's just going to be 2 days after their report goes public. So you won't have had much time to talk about it. They would do a briefer presentation and then come back at the meeting August 17th to kind of hear more, kind of have more of the town hall aspect and kind of, regroup and take more comments and have more of a longer discussion about it. So that's what the discussions are at this point about next time. We wanted to make sure there was plenty of time for this, and we didn't want the COCO to take all the full hour that they usually get. Samir?
Thank you. So the staffing updates and also a membership update, there should be new members coming before the end of the month, 2 more at least. That's being handled by the mayor's office, and you can follow up with them for more details there, but that's on its way. There is a project assistant position, which is starting this week. And to clarify, that is not exactly the same as it used to be. That is a shared position across the advisory boards and commissions unit. So it's 25% devoted to PCCEP, not 100%. And then separately, there is a full-time staff position starting next week for PCCEP that has been retitled to be consistent across the Community Safety Division to be project manager, but it is effectively the exact same position that was previously director. And that individual is starting next week. So hopefully by Wednesday or so, there'll be an introduction email coming out and to introduce you all to both of them as well. And in the interim period of time, as you see today, other staff, myself and or the FitCon staff from the advisory boards and commissions unit are kind of filling the gap. And of course, you still have staff support as well from the mayor's office and the city attorney's office. Yeah, and I have a quick slide just for a little extra information before adjourning, if that's okay with you, Anne and Gloria. Okay. So just a quick thank you. And to clarify, the written public comment is something that the project assistant will be circulating. So as soon as we have the staff to do that, and it's received 8 a.m. 2 business days in advance, that will start being circulated in advance of meetings beyond today. There's the website, the link to the public comment, as well as a link to sign up for email updates so that you can get advanced public notice of future PCCEP meetings. Thank you. And if there's anything else, otherwise we can adjourn.
Yeah, can I just say a quick thing? Thank you for all the updates, and we'll get the names of the staff, I'm sure, in the emails. Is there someone that can help Nathan get his PCCEP email? That would be helpful in the interim here. And then just in closing, Celeste, if you can send me your notes, I'll compile it with mine and send it back to you and make sure that we got it together for our next meeting.
Yes. Yes. Now it might even appear as a live document, but I'm copying it right now and I will send it to you.
Perfect. And then you're going to put that other piece from the letter.
Yes, I have to find out where that is. I know it's on my computer, but it's a matter of me digging it up while I was trying to share my screen. I didn't want to put everybody through that.
No, and you're a lifesaver. I obviously didn't have my technology together for this evening, so I appreciate you. And so I will send something out to PCCEP staff this Thursday. It will be just once again a working document, but it's a compilation of tonight's topics and thoughts, and it will also have Celeste's information. Please review it, and you can email myself or Celeste prior to our 20th meeting, and we'll do our best to make an update on that. Since I'm kind of creating the final document, any comments go to me and I will update them. Let's see. To answer the question about Nathan's, yeah, the mayor office can help. They'll follow up. Great. Gloria, did you want to say anything? Oh, Gloria might have left. Well, thank you all. And I think it was a great meeting, and we look forward to seeing everyone on the 20th. Thank you again. Thanks for your patience with me. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.